So I've got this recording session, and eventually I want to mix this and put some polish on it. The first step in that process for me is always going to be making just observations about what I've got. So I've been given these stems that I'm working with. I imported them into Pro Tools, which is my DAW of choice for this. Looks like I've got 2 mono audio tracks and 2 stereo. I've got a lead vocal, harmony vocal, piano, and some piano overdubs. So it's going to be pretty minimalist. That doesn't mean that we can't make it complex, but we haven't been given too many moving parts, too many pieces. The other observation that I can make right off the bat is I have not been given any tempo or key signature information that may or may not play a factor into what I'm doing. But right here on my overdubs track, you can see this little drop down next to the track title is different than the rest. And that's showing me that we've actually got some additional recordings on maybe some playlists that are hidden. So maybe you refer to this in your DAW as a comp track or something, but here, if I switch from waveform to playlist view, you're going to see all these other alternate recordings or alternate takes that were recorded during the recording session. So I'm making a mental note that I'm going to have to come back to this and that I have options to edit this in different ways. Now I'm just going to listen and see what we're dealing with. It's a beautiful voice and some excellent playing. Okay, so I can assume that we're dealing with a kind of slow tempo piano ballad. Those are the only instruments that I was given, and looking at like some visual clues, I don't see any major dynamic fluxes, so I think it's going to be relatively mellow all the way through. And of course I can continue listening through and see, just what I'm dealing with. Maybe see what the song arrangement is like. But first glance, looks like it's going to be pretty mellow. When I hear things like this, when I see 2 vocals on top of each other, I want to maybe make some observations about how they work together. It looks like also our singer is pretty soulful and pretty deep. And maybe I guess I'm saying like low pitched and all that. So I want to prioritize the lead vocal. So I'm also making mental notes like, oh, well, I'm probably going to have to carve out some low frequency EQ from the vocal harmony so that all can stand out a little bit. And when you're making these observations, it's pretty classic to have like a notebook or something, but you can also, depending on what your DAW offers, you can reveal like a comments column like this and write yourself text comments. In old school sort of pen and paper is usually how I like to do it, or in a case where it's it's not too complex, then I might just go with mental notes. But this is a good place to get me started. Okay, I'm dealing with a ballad. There's not a lot of dynamic flux, but I do have some overdubs that I'm going to have to sift through and edit, and I want to make sure that the vocal harmony is really tastefully reinforcing the lead vocals as opposed to masking things or causing us some issues.